thankful to all the organizers of such as Zero Grazing and Alembic Pharma and all the other organizers for giving me a wonderful opportunity to present about surgical affections of urogenital system in sheep and goats. And I'm very much happy to present this in front of my mentor, Dr. Prasad Balapanawar sir. And I am very much thankful to Dr. Ashok Kumar sir for recognizing me and giving me an opportunity to present this topic. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. And coming to surgical affections of urogenital system in sheep and goats. This is very much neglected topic since concerned with the economy. Many of the sheep and goats affected with some surgical affections will be sent to slaughterhouses because of the poor knowledge by the owners and also because of the economy. And with minimum basic facilities and with the economy, we can survive many of the sheep and goats which are affected with surgical affections of urogenital system. And I am working in field since 8 years. My aim is I am covering very much basic topics which we all already know. And I am just adding few points and I am just sharing my experience of last 8 years. And I am going through all the basics and I am going each and everything in basic manner only. And coming to my actual topic, surgical affections of urogenital system in sheep and goats. So anatomy, and I will just go little fast because we all know the anatomy. Here, as we all know, this is a urinary. This is the urogenital system of male animal. Here, the animal contains 2 testicles, and which will be there in the residing in the scrotum. After the testicle, we will get epididymis and vas deferens, which will open into the urethra, and sigma flexure will be there in the urethra. And coming to sheep and goats, one specific thing is they have urethral process at the tip, and this is the main difference between the other ruminants and the sheep and goats. Coming to the female anatomy, reproductive tract starts with the vulva, then vagina, cervix, and we will get body of the uterus, and we will get 2 horns of the uterus and fallopian tube and ovaries. And coming to the main surgical affections of urogenital system in males. First one is the urolithiasis. It is the burning topic in bucklings and in animals which are castrated in the early age. They will be affected with the urolithiasis. And another things are peripheral stenosis, prostatitis or urethral rupture, and complications of castration. And coming to the urolithiasis, in case of ruminants, there will be, in case of large animals, big stones will be formed, but in case of these small ruminants, urinary calculi will be sand-like calculus will be there. Urinary calculi are uroliths. These are the concretions of solid minerals, organic compounds that cause disease through direct trauma to the urinary tract or obstruction of the urinary flow. The specific thing in sheep and goats is we will not get a large calculi. In this, there will be multiple calculi, small multiple calculi will be there, or sand-like material, sand-like calculus will be there throughout the length of the urethra. Even they will be found in the urinary bladder, and also whole length of the urethra, we will get sand type of stones in case of sheep and goats. And main site of accumulation in case of sheep and goat is urethral process. So this is one peculiarity, that is in urethral process, the sand type of material will be blocked. That is the main thing when compared to other ruminants. So in sheep and goats, mainly phosphate type of calculus will be found. So main site is the urethral process. That is the tip, at the tip of the penis, we will get a tube-like thing. This is the urethral process, and this is the most common site for the obstruction of the urinary stones will be large here in the urethral process. And other site is sigma flexure. And the factors which are responsible for this are feeding of concentrate diets, which are excess in phosphorus and magnesium, and imbalance in calcium and phosphorus ratio, lack of water sources and prevalence of water sources which are high in minerals, and castration of lambs in very early age. So this is the urethral process, and this is the main site in case of sheep and goat. So what are the signs? The animals will be showing straining to urinate. They will be very restless. There will be complete anorexia. Abdomen will be distended. In case of in early stages of urolithiasis, the animal shows all the straining, restlessness, anorexia, everything. And in later stages, so in some cases, there will be no defecation also. There will be bruxism, and they will be stretching out of the body. There will be vocalization, and whenever there is urolithiasis and all the tract of urethra is blocked, the urinary bladder will be distending. After some days or some 1 or 2 days, if we do not treat them, then it will rupture. And after that, the animal will be little bit relaxed for some time. So we will feel that the animal is relaxed, means something is corrected like that. But whenever there is urinary bladder rupture, the animal will feel quite normal. After that, once again, the animal will go to complete anorexia. So there will be abdominal distension. We can even palpate them. Whenever the urinary bladder is enlarged, when we palpate it, we will get huge structure in the abdomen. When the bladder is ruptured, the abdomen will be very much tensed and there will be distension also. If we do abdominocentesis, we will get lot of urine in that. So based on that, we can identify whether there is either there is just obstruction and whether there is bladder rupture also. And coming to the signs, here the animal showing restlessness and there is continuous lifting of the limbs is there. And sometimes there will be continuous tail twitching will be there, and animal is very much restless. And usually owner tells the history that the animal did not pass the urine, and sometimes there will be dribbling of urine also, and in some cases some drops of blood may also seen. So coming to the medical management, first of all, when we get a case, if it is very early one, we can treat them with just if it is dribbling and animal is somewhat okay, then we can treat with urinary acidifiers. As we all know, the urine of the sheep and goats will be alkaline in nature, little alkaline in nature. So in order to convert in those stones, which are called phosphate type of stones, they will be formed in the alkaline pH. So we should change the pH of the urine to treat this type of cases. So in order to change this, in order to acidify the urine, we are using urinary acidifiers. That is the ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride is available as powder form. So 500 and 500 gram bottles are available. So this ammonium chloride can be given to these particular cases at 200 milligram per kg body weight orally. So this acts as urinary acidifier. So because of changing the pH, the stones formed will be dissolved. That is the criteria. And availability of ammonium, these will be available in the powder form of 500 gram. Even it is available as Navasagara in all available at all the puja material shops. It is available as Navasagara. This material is used to make the utensils shinier. So this is available at all the puja material shops. It is called as Navasagara. This is nothing but 100% ammonium chloride. So we can either buy ammonium chloride powder or you can use Navasagara also. Coming to the surgical management. So if we are failing to treat them in the medical management, we should do surgically. So main site of obstruction is urethral process. So whenever we get a case of urolithiasis in case of sheep and goat, first we should do amputation of urethral process. So majority of the cases will be successfully recovered just because of amputation of urethral process only. If we fail to evacuate urine by amputation of urethral process, we should go for tube cystostomy. So I will go then urethrostomy and urethrotomy. These are not indicated in case of sheep and goat generally, but whenever tube cystostomy also fails, then if there is no option, then we can think of urethrotomy and urethrostomy. Since in case of sheep and goats, the catheterization of the penis is very difficult because of the narrow size. And if we do urethrostomy or urethrotomy also, passing the catheter is very difficult in case of sheep and goats. So better to avoid this. But if we are failing to do tube cystostomy, and then we can think of urethrotomy or urethrostomy. So anesthesia, what I am following is lumbosacral epidural anesthesia and local infiltration. So main thing in compared to in sheep and goats is we should think of dose of lignocaine used. Since they are very much sensitive to toxic levels of lignocaine, so always we should use the correct dose in case of sheep and goat. That is 2.8 milligram per kg body weight. On an average, we can take it as 2 milligram per kg body weight. So in the commercial preparations, what we will get is 2% lignocaine. That means 1 ml of lignocaine contains 20 milligram. So based on this 2.8 milligram per kg body weight only, we should calculate the dose and we should do. So whenever we require large quantity of anesthesia, if we want to do a ring block to the scrotum, we need more anesthesia, more quantity of the anesthetic. Then we can do one thing. If the actual dose needed is 2 ml, we can dilute it with another 2 ml of NS or distilled water. So we will get 4 ml and we can do the surgery with them. So we can dilute the lignocaine and use, but never cross the limit in case of sheep and goat. So this is the first thing. This is the, we are doing epidural anesthesia at the lumbosacral region. So we should first identify the cranial borders of the ilium. So we should draw an imaginary line. So just behind the last lumbar vertebrae and start of sacrum, this is the point. So here we can use 21 or 20 gauge needle, and we can use lignocaine as per the dose I just explained, and this will work as excellent analgesia. So along with that, we can go for linear infiltration also. This is even after the lumbosacral anesthesia. So just because of these two anesthetics, these two techniques, we can do every procedures of urogenital system. So coming to this is the urethral process. So this is the tip of the penis, and we will get urethral process here. So coming to urethral process amputation. So whenever a case presented with the history of urolithiasis or not passing the urine, first take out the penis out. If we are feeling difficulty in externalizing the penis, we can do pudendal nerve block. So actually, pudendal we can do that nerve block at the eschorectal fossa on the both the sides of the anus. Just inject around 2 ml of lignocaine, and because of that, we can easily take out the penis out. So like this, urethral process can be taken out. So after that, we are cutting the urethral process now. So this is the urethral process. Usual site of enlarging the calculus is this one. So immediately after cutting this, the urine will come out. In majority of the cases, since the sand type of material will be blocked over length of this urethral process, so immediately after cutting the urethral process, the urine will be coming out. So majority of the cases will recover by this only. If even after cutting the or amputating the urethral process, if the urine is not coming, then we should think of going for tube cystostomy. So this is another case. After pudendal nerve block, we are externalizing the penis. So this is the urethral process. Tip of the penis is also visible along with the urethral process. So this can be cut off. And immediately after amputating the urethral process, the urine is dribbling out. So this type of sand type of materials will be accumulated at the site. So this type of materials will be blocked at the whole length of the urethra usually. So in order to dissolve them, we are using ammonium chloride. Post-operatively, we should advise ammonium chloride minimum for 20 days, BID, 200 milligram per kg body weight orally. And coming to tube cystostomy procedure, first one, this is the easier way of approaching a case of urolithiasis in case of sheep and goat. This is an added advantage also in case of sheep and goat. Since in large animals like bullocks, tube cystostomy procedure is very tough to do because of their size. But in case of cows and also in sheep and goat, it is easy to perform. And coming to this, this provides an alternative way to pass the urine. So whenever the calculus is large in the urethra, the animal is unable to pass the urine. We are creating another way to evacuate the urine until that whole urethra is cleared. So this is just like a bypass surgery. So the urine will be going out through another outlet. So the original outlet will be taking time to clear. So this is the principle here. So in case of sheep and goat, Foley's catheter number 16 is worth to use. And coming to the procedure, after lumbosacral anesthesia, I am just infiltrating. This is the paramedian incision. So we will get penis here. So just above that, in paramedial, parallel to the penis or midline. So I am doing local infiltration of lignocaine after diluting with the NS. So according to the body weight, I am taking the dose and just infiltrating to the skin and the muscles also. So after anesthesia, I am incising. So I am giving a linear incision. Paramedian incision is there. So I am incising. So after incising, we will get muscles. We should dissect them and enter the abdomen. So after entering the abdomen, intestines and omentum will be coming in our way, we should just push them to side, and the huge bulge bladder will be seen. So if it is bladder is ruptured, we will get fluid, or if it is bulge, we will get like this. So externalizing the bladder is tough. So I am just decompressing it by removing some amount of urine, just to externalize the urinary bladder. So it depends on the surgeon's preferences. So I am just evacuating the urine with the help of syringe first. After that, once the urinary bladder is decompressed, so then I am holding the urinary bladder and pulling it out. So after this, we should open the urinary bladder. We should inside the urinary bladder, and we should pass our hand into the urinary bladder. So we will get powder type of stones, or some crusts will be there. We should remove all those things. So after removing, we should search everywhere for the stones. Once it will be powder formed, huge stones, unlike in dogs and cats, we will not get like that. We will get powder form of stones. Sometimes if the evacuated urine on the, if we evacuate urine on the cloth, we will get powder which is smearing after some time. So that is the thing here. So after evacuating, we should close that incision site, and a nick incision can be given after into the another area. So after that, we should make one tunnel. So we should take number 16 Foley's catheter, and this, if it is the incision site, parallel to this, we should make a tunnel with the help of BP blade and passing the forceps there. So we should take this Foley's catheter into the abdomen through separate tunnel. If this is the incision site, this is the tunnel main. So like this, we took Foley's catheter into the abdomen. So after that, so I am just giving a nick incision to the urinary bladder. So I am passing the tip of the Foley's catheter into the bladder now. Like this, we should pass Foley's catheter into the bladder. So after passing the Foley's catheter, we should inflate the bladder. That is, we are fixing Foley's catheter into the urinary bladder like this. Around 15 to 20 ml of normal saline should be pushed through the ballooning port of the Foley's catheter. So by this, Foley's catheter will be fixed into the abdomen. So if there is urinary bladder rupture, immediately after opening the abdomen, we will get huge quantity of fluid, which is urine, and huge quantity of fluid will be coming out, and we should search the bladder for the tears. So sometimes multiple ruptures will be there. One specialty of urinary bladder is it is ruptured and it will be healed. Many a times when we open it, we will get urine also, and we will not get even rupture site also. It will be healing and rupturing once again and once again. So here we can, in this image, we can see the ruptured site of urinary bladder. So it can be sutured. So with the help of catgut 10 or number 1, we can suture urinary bladder, and healing capacity of urinary bladder is very high. After suturing, the same procedure should be followed. Foley's catheter should be inserted, and the whole abdomen should be lavaged using normal saline, or we can also use RO water. So then we are fixing Foley's catheter to the skin. So in Foley's catheter, there will be 2 ports. This is the ballooning port. This port is just used for the fixing of Foley's catheter. So I pushed around 15 to 20 ml of normal saline through this port. So the the tip, there will be formation of inflation. The bulging of Foley's catheter will be there. So it will be fixed there. And this port, through this port, the urine will come out. So whenever we are removing Foley's catheter, once again we are removing all the fluids which are inflated from this end. Usually we can take it out. So this is the thing. And after putting, we should check that whether urine is coming or not. So usually the urine will be dribbling like this whole day. So after one day of surgery, we should start bladder exercise. So that is where we should close the tip of the Foley's catheter through which the urine is coming out. So I just plugged a plunger to the Foley's catheter. So I block this way. Foley's catheter way is blocked. So and we should start ammonium chloride also. So ammonium chloride, as the ammonium chloride dissolves the powder form of the stones, the urine will be coming out through the natural orifice. First it will be dribbling. After 1 or 2 days, the continuous flow of urine will be there. For that, we should start bladder exercise. Bladder exercise means in the initial days, first morning around 1 hour, afternoon 1 hour, evening 1 hour. We should block it. After that, we should make it clear. So once the urine is coming, we should increase the interval like that. So once if you block in the morning 7, we should open in the evening 7. And in the next day, once the urine is coming through normal opening, then we should completely block the catheter. So once the urine is completely coming through the normal urethra, then we can remove the Foley's catheter. Usually in 7 to 8 days, the normal urine will be coming like this. So we can even use you can connect a drip set and we can infuse the normal saline to flush the bladder also. We can also infuse the ammonium chloride. In some literatures, ammonium chloride intracystic preparations also given, but it is some authors says it is not at all working, but some says that even the ammonium chloride infusion into the urinary bladder also helps. So even we can give through oral also, and we can even use the intracystic administration of ammonium chloride also. And this is after 12 days, we remove Foley's catheter also and skin sutures also. So I will just go through refresh this thing, since for the person who are doing generally, it will be very easy to understand. The one who wants to learn this technique, it needs some time. So just I will refresh one thing. Just give one neck incision, around 5 centimeter incision on the paramedian region. After that, you enter the abdomen. You just take out the bladder. If it is very much distended, we can decompensate it by removing the urine by using 20 ml syringe. And then after decompensating, we can take it out. The urinary bladder should be taken out. A incision should be given, and one finger should be passed into that. We should search for the stones, and we can remove all the stones which are there. And even we can pass a drip set through neck of the bladder into the urethra, and we can do hydropropulsion, just pushing the normal saline into the bladder. After that, we should close the urinary bladder, and we can use number 1 or 10 catgut or polyglycolic acid to suture the urinary bladder. We can suture it by simple continuous, or even inversion pattern can also be used. After that, we should give we should take Foley's catheter number 16. We should just create a small tunnel parallel to the primary line of incision. Just pass the Foley's catheter into the abdomen. So then give a small neck incision to the bladder and pass the tip of the Foley's catheter into the urinary bladder and inflate it. So we can inflate from the outside by pushing 15 to 20 ml of normal saline. Once it is fixed in the urinary bladder, so abdomen can be closed. If there is bladder rupture, we should lavage the abdomen using RO water or in sufficient quantity of normal saline and close the abdomen. So after that, you start ammonium chloride orally, 200 mg per kg body weight, BID, every day. And you start bladder exercise immediately from the next day of surgery. Bladder exercise is just blocking the Foley's catheter. So once the animal starts, so whenever you are giving ammonium chloride, all the stones will be dissolved. It will take for 3 to 4 days. Once all the stones dissolved, the urine will be coming through the natural orifice normally. So once we get from the natural orifice, we can wait for 1 day. After that, we can remove Foley's catheter and we can remove the skin sutures on day 12. This is the normal tube cystostomy procedure, and this can be done even at the village level, at the farmers level only. And sometimes what happens is some farmers, so whenever we open the urinary abdomen, when the bladder is too much bulged, the intestines and omentum will be gushing out, and some small kids will be coming. And when we are handling the intestines too much, they will go to severe stress. Or some owners, they don't want to go for huge surgeries. So one thing what we can do is, without externalizing the bladder, we can stab it also. So just I am showing, this is not recommended one, but we can follow in few cases where the invasive procedures are not needed. So I will just show that after giving incision to the abdomen. So I have taken one stylet. This is the teat tumor extractor what we use in large animals. So I just fixed that to tip of the Foley's catheter, and I am just poking the bladder. So bladder is severely enlarged. I am just poking this Foley's catheter into the bladder now. At a single swift action, we should enter the bladder. So I am just pushing the Foley's catheter into the bladder. So urine is coming out, and we can do lavaging also. Just I inserted the tip of the Foley's catheter into the bladder. Here I did not open the urinary bladder and searched for the stones. I just inserted Foley's catheter into the urinary bladder, and urine is coming out. And similar procedure that we can close the abdomen and you can treat but the main advantage is we can do this surgery within 5 minutes. But tube cystostomy, this is not the recommended one. Once I did this and I showed to my mentor, Dr. Balapanor sir, and he guided me that anyway you're opening the abdomen, you can open it and we can remove the stones as much as possible. That will be good. Now, if the owner is not willing for the invasive procedures or the animal condition is very poor or it is very young one, we can do this stabbing procedure also. And many literatures are also available about this procedure. And after that stabbing, we can inflate the Foley's catheter as I shown. I already told that this is the ballooning port where there will be cork, and this is the another port through which urine is coming out. So you are inflating the urinary bladder. So catgut number 1 or polyglycolic acid number 1 can be used for urinary bladder, and catgut number 1 for muscles. Any pattern can be used, simple interrupted or simple continuous. And polyamide number 10 or number 1 for the skin. Simple interrupted horizontal mattress or vertical mattress as usual to the any other surgery what we are doing, we can follow here. And just now I am completing tube cystostomy and coming to the urethrotomy and urethrostomy. In sheep and goat, urethrotomy and urethrostomy are not the main indicated procedures. As if we are doing urethrotomy, the catheterizing the urinary, it is very tough to catheterize and also tough to manage, unlike in case of large animals. So if in this particular case I did this, I will just explain this procedure. So in case of perineal urethrostomy, just below the anus and just behind the sputum, we are incising and we are taking the urethra out. So we are just suturing the urethral wall to the skin by simple interrupted fashion in circular manner and leaving it. In case of urethrostomy, for the lifetime, the urine will be coming through this opening only and not from the natural orifice. So this is the procedure of urethrostomy. And in this particular case, the animal came like this, very much distended abdomen and very discomfort. Animal is not standing still at one place and it is continuously shifting the side. So I did first, I cut the urethral process, no urine came out. After that, I did the tube cystostomy procedure. And after some time, the animal presented like this with some swollen area just behind the scrotum. So whenever I touched that, animal was feeling a huge pain. So just behind the area, there was a swelling. So I just incised the area and the animal was feeling very much pain. So I just opened that area, there was an abscess. So this abscess was responsible for that urinary obstruction. And I did open the urethra here only and I did urethrostomy from the same side as the urine was coming from this side after incision. So this is the thing which what I did is I just sutured the urethra here and animal was dribbling, the urine was dribbling. This is after 10 days, the urine was coming out from the same port. And after 30 days, it created as an artificial opening. And the animal is still active and it is passing urine from this urethrostomy site only. From just like female animal is passing urine, the usual people felt like that. So we did urethrostomy and the animal saved. And coming to some complications of tube cystostomy is sometimes the Foley's catheter will be damaged. So here we can see it is leaking. So after the surgery, the catheter will be dislodged if we use this type of Foley's catheter. And sometimes this type of will be supplied. So before inflating, checking once by inflating from outside is good for doing tube cystostomy. Another common problem which we encounter is blockage of urinary catheter by fibrin material. So here usually the fibrin material blocks the Foley's catheter. So in order to overcome this, we should push huge quantity of normal saline with pressure. Sometimes we fail even to clear this also. but generally we can follow this, the pushing large quantity of NS with pressure. So we can remove this type of debris. Apart from these, sometimes there will be track infection all over the track of the Polish catheter. There will be infection. Sometimes after removing the Polish catheter, the dribbling of urine from the point of insertion of catheter will also be there. So after this can be overcome by continuous antibiotic or a course of antibiotic infiltration and antibiotic administration. And these are the different cases. This is a book presented, and we did two cystectomy. And coming to fluid of choice, we should, whenever the case of urolithiasis comes, we should give sufficient quantity of fluids. So normal saline will be good usually. So first we should hydrate the animal and go for the surgery. And prevention and control, we should give clean water 24 hours of the day. So the animal should be given access to water always. Whenever we are giving water in the morning and we are not giving water till the evening, this type of complications will arise. So avoidance of too much pelleted ration should be done. So addition of salt to the ration, though this increases the animal tries to drink more water when we add salt. So by that also urolithiasis cases will be managed. So addition of more roughage in the diet and the extra supplementation of calcium while feeding cereal grain should be done. So urolithiasis is the problem which is encountered both in male and female animals. But in case of female animals, because of narrow, because of the huge opening, and unlike in case of male, the urethra is very diameter of urethra is very less. So in the we will get more symptomatic cases in case of males. But in females, the stones will be formed and they will be flushing out easily, unlike in case of males. And coming to, I just finished urolithiasis now. Another thing is perfusial stenosis. So the perfuse, the tip of the perfuse is the place where the penis will be lodged. So whenever there is infection in the perfuse, or whenever there is continuous irritation, whenever there is injury to the perfuse, the stenosis occurs. So this is a classical case of perfusial stenosis. So the urethra, the perfuse is completely stenosed, and the opening is very, very narrow. So urine is accumulating at the tip of the perfuse like this. So this is the huge enlarged perfuse. And there was dribbling of urine from this side. Animal was feeling difficulty to urinate, and all the urine accumulated is coming out drop by drop from this side. And up here, one artery forceps is passed, and just I evacuated all the urine first. So all the evacuated urine is taken out. Then under local infiltration and put under nerve block, a circular shaped skin around the perfusial opening was excised. So a circular shaped skin around the perfusial opening is excised as there was the stenosis. So it is excised. And after that, a 2 ml syringe was taken and it was fixed. The 2 ml syringe was taken and the tip was removed. And this is fixed into the perfusial cavity like this. So I sutured the 2 ml syringe like this. Just what we do during atresia NA cases, just I did that. And 1 ml insulin syringe or 1 ml syringe is taken, and nitrofurazone ointment can be administered into the perfusial cavity as there will be mucosa. So for mucosa, nitrofurazone ointment works well. So I am infusing nitrofurazone, and daily application of nitrofurazone ointment was done. Antibiotic and anti-inflammatories were given, and on day 20, animal was passing urine normally. On day 20, the syringe was removed. So animal continuously passing the urine normally. On day 20, the inserted plunger or the syringe was taken out, and nitrofuran ointment application was continued further. On day 25, animal passing the urine normally. So a case of procedural stenosis was managed by this way. And coming to the fasciitis or urethral rupture, fasciitis fasciitis also same because of infection or injury it occurs. So this fasciitis leads to, once again, this leads to stenosis of the prepuce. So because of that, there will be phimosis. That is, the animal unable to retract the penis out. So there will be phimosis, and which leads to accumulation of urine in the prepuceal cavity. Huge swelling on the ventral abdomen will be there. And sometimes even at the site of calculi is lodging somewhere, and the urethra will rupture, and this will also lead to huge enlarged abdomen. And you just go through some cases. So here the prepuce is stenosed, and on the ventral abdomen we are getting very huge swelling. So urine which came out from the penis is accumulating in the prepuce, and because of the inflammation and irritation caused by the urine, all the surrounding structures are inflamed. So, and in case of urethral rupture also, once the urethra is ruptured and urine came out, and which will be large here. So because of that, the complete accumulation of urine on the ventral abdomen leads to huge swelling. So here the fasciitis is there. In this particular case, there was fasciitis, and the urine was accumulated in the between the skin and the prepuceal cavity. So coming to the treatment aspect, we should treat as there is stenosis of the prepuceal cavity and urine is accumulating here. We should create another way to urinate. So an incision should be given on the ventral abdomen just behind the tip of the prepuce, and the penis tip should be made available at that space, and the urine which is produced by the animal will be coming out through this opening. This is a simple procedure. We can excise a U-shaped or V-shaped skin at the ventral abdomen. So urine which is produced will coming out through this opening only. So this is the animal. After around 2 months, the animal is passing the urine normally through the penis, but not through the prepuceal cavity and through the artificial opening which is made. So by this way, the animal is survived. So this was a case of fasciitis, and like this it survived. And this is another case of fasciitis, and here huge accumulation of urine on the ventral abdomen was there, and there was necrosis and the congestion of the skin because of continuous irritation caused by the urine which is produced and which is accumulated. And here the opening was done and penis was made accessible to the outside. Unfortunately, that particular animal died because of the late presentation, and first the animal was survived. Coming to the complications of castration. So up to this time I covered fasciitis and other affections. Now we are moving to complications of castration. So whenever we are doing castration, in some institutions, some attendants will be doing castrations, and so they will not be doing the castration in correct way. So many people in village method of castration also, they are just crushing the testicles. In village method of castration, in many villages I seen personally, some person will be there in each village who is doing castration by himself. They will crush all the testicles because of as a method of castration. So that is very cruel method also. Sometimes even using Burdizzo castrator also, many some attenders or some quacks are doing crushing the testicles at the middle. So this will leads to so many complications. So actual side, we should pull the testicles outside, and we should do crushing at this side. First we should do, and we should give around the 0.5 to 1 centimeter gap, and we should once again crush it. First apply Burdizzo castrator here and leave for around 15 seconds, remove it. After that, give a space of 0.5 to 1 centimeter, once again crush it. So same thing should be repeated in the other side, but these two lines should not be connected. One should be upper and one should be lower. The gap should be there between these two. So this is the correct way of doing castration. We should give anesthesia also, since it is a very painful procedure. Always do castration with the anesthesia. We can do ring block using lignocaine. So I am just showing the method. Just I am crushing the one testicle here, the spermatic cord here. So I gave some space, and once again doing another thing. Same thing should be repeated to both sides. What happens is, in village condition, many farmers bring their animals around 1.5 year, 2 years animals will be produced. Usually we should do castration around 5 to 6 months of age. Not too early, not too late also is advisable. Around 6 months is ideal one. And coming to this faulty method of castrations, that is crushing the testicles. This is many quacks are doing this. They are crushing the testicles at the middle. So this will lead to so many complications. And sometimes what happens is pulling the testicles and sometimes crushing the this spermatic cord just below the body of the animal. This leads to so many complications. So the urethra, the sigma, after sigma flexure, the penis will be going by this way only. Like this, it is passing. So if you crush closer to the body, the penis will be crushed. Many complications will come like that. So here, one complication of after castration is evisceration of testicles. By village method, when they are doing, some testicles will come out. Even when we appointed to some veterinary dispensaries newly, we will be not knowing the status of Burdizzo castrators, or sometimes new Burdizzo castrator will be supplied. So it will be very tight. When we apply complete pressure on the testicle, on the spermatic cord, whole skin will come out because of the sharpness and the tightness of that Burdizzo castrator. So one should first accustomize to that particular castrator, and we should know the tightness of that particular Burdizzo castrator, and then we should do the crushing. So here one such complications came to our dispensary like this. So this is another case where both testicles came out. And coming to management of this type of cases, so we should remove the testicles. So we can either go for scrotal ablation, or we can go for incision on the scrotum and removal of the testicles. So in scrotal ablation, we are removing both the testicles. We are giving incision at the neck of the scrotum. In case of another method, we are just giving incision on the scrotum and removing testicles from the same side. I am just going through that type of cases. So this is one thing, scrotal ablation for cirrus cord and architis in a goat. So cirrus cord means inflammation of spermatic cord. Whenever we are crushing the testicles, sometimes the inflammation of spermatic cord occurs. So in this particular cases, all the complications like evisceration of testicles, the spermatic inflammation of spermatic cord, and architis, all were there. So this is the case presented. First, we did some medical management for 15 days. Somewhere he did, and he presented to us. So ring block. This is the usual way we should do. Just giving anesthetic in circular manner at the neck of the scrotum. First, we should take the body weight of the animal. Take around 2 mg per kg body weight lignocaine. Dilute it with NS. After that, give lignocaine in circular manner around the scrotum. By this way, we can block and we can do surgeries of the testicles. So I am just giving all around the neck of the scrotum now. Even for doing castration also, we can do this, or we can just give at the site of the castration, crushing the crushing point. So ring block is given. Now I am giving circular shaped incision all around the neck of the scrotum. So circular incision is given. Once after circular incision on the skin, we should dissect it. By this way, we can dissect and testicles can be taken out. I'm just dissecting at the neck of the scrotum. So after dissecting, I am ligating one of the spermatic cord. So spermatic cord of this testicle is being ligated now. So I am using silk. In small animals, we can use catgut also, but using silk will give sufficient strength. So just I encircled the spermatic cord with the silk. I am just ligating it. Always we should do transfixation. Means we should take through the spermatic cord also. Otherwise, after surgery, sometimes these knot will be loosened. Because of that, there will be bleeding post surgery. So always take. This is what I told. That is a transfixation. I am just taking a bite through the spermatic cord. So I am just transfixing. Similarly, what we do in case of dogs, in dogs also we do transfixation. So here I did transfixation and ligated the spermatic cord, and that spermatic cord should be severed. And similar procedure should be followed to the another spermatic cord also. So I am taking a bite through the another spermatic cord. So this is a very simplest surgery when the fresh case is presented. Within 5 to 10 minutes we can do this procedure. In case of if there is serous cord, there will be too much of inflammation will be there. So we should slowly dissect it. So there will be no difference between the normal tissue and the infected and inflamed tissue. So we will face huge difficulties in case of bullocks. Whenever we are doing serous cord in case of bullocks, it is a very tough surgery. But in case of sheep and goats, when they presented very early, it will be very simple procedure to perform. The same thing should be followed even if it is a serous cord also or some testicular tumors also. Any complications where we want to remove the testicles, we can go for this method. So this is scrotal ablation, that is removing both the testicles at the level of neck of the scrotum. So here I am ligating another spermatic cord here, and I am doing transfixation of another spermatic cord also with the help of silk. Number 2 or number 1 also can be used in case of sheep and goats. I ligated another spermatic cord, and usually this type of cases with evisceration of testicles will be presented to dispensaries suddenly. We will be having some work and this type of cases will be presented, and we can do this surgery in very short time. I am severing both the spermatic cords and remove it. After that, we can apply sutures. Skin sutures should be applied. So these are the excised testicles, and which is inflamed. We can see there is a severe arthritis also there, which is inflamed, and color of the testicles is somewhat blackish. And this is after surgery, and the wound healed after 17 days. Sutures are removed after 17 days, and this is the healthy animal after the surgery. So we should always follow correct procedure of castration. So this is another case presented with the evisceration of testicles, which was done because of the village method of castration, where they used to crush the testicles. So here I did another method, that is giving incision on the scrotum and taking the one testicle out. We should ligate it. We can apply artery forceps like this. We can ligate and sever it. And since from the same opening, we can take another testicle also. We can ligate it. When compared to scrotal ablation, this is very simpler technique and very easy to perform. And this is another testicle which was which was in very bad condition because of the crushing by the farmer itself. And this testicles also removed and sutures applied. A small opening for the drainage should be provided in this particular method. So some seroma which is formed should go out. So this is after 12 days, it is healed nicely. So we can do both the methods. Whichever is comfort, we can go for that. Coming to another method is, nowadays we are using plastic tags, that is zip ties. That is they are called as cable ties. So whenever we are going to some big malls like Big Bazaar, they are locking our bags with the zip ties. So those can be used for this purpose. We successfully, Dr. Pramod successfully used these zip traps in case of small animals, around 200 animals, for cutaneous tumors. And same thing, myself with Dr. Pramod and in Asan Veterinary College, operated many cases using zip ties. So the thing is, here we are just applying the tags here like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, like this. We are applying the tags. So by this track, we should every day we should tighten it. There is access to tighten them. So because of this, the blood supply to these testicles will be stopped. And after some 5 to 10 days, our testicle will turn into black color and it will slough off. So same method was used for vulvar tumors. Around in 20 cases we operated. All the cases are recovered very well, and there is no recurrence of tumors also. So that same method can also be used here. But in coming to this castration, better to avoid this, since it may cause some pain, huge pain to the animal, and many times owners will not be they should have patience to keep this type of animals. In this particular case, I used this since there was severe inflammation, there was severe cirrus cord, and there was huge inflammation was there here. Whenever we are operating, some dead tissue will be left here. And also, if I go beyond this way, I may damage the penile area also. So I just thought of avoiding the surgical procedure, and just I went for this particular technique, and this worked well also for this particular case. We can decide based on the particular cases. So coming to cirrus cord, that is the inflammation of spermatic cord, and whole testicular. Usually the neck of the sputum will be shallow like this, but here it is inflamed. So this is another case. So arthritis. Sometimes what happens? The evisceration or some opening will be there, and the infection will be developed at the spot. So first is coming out through the testicles. So this particular cases can be treated like in case of abscesses. We can go for penicillin injections for these work very well for this particular cases. If we fail to treat them, then we can go for sputal ablation or removal of testicles. Better to go for sputal ablation for this type of cases, since it will be very easy to perform, and pain to the animal will be avoided. So testicular tumors. This particular case was presented with a huge swelling of one testicle, and we sent sample for brucellosis to the college. It was found negative. After that, I did sputal ablation for this particular case, but I didn't gone for histopathology. I kept the sample, and I have to process it. So sputal ablation was done, and testicle was removed. So this is post surgery, and this is the huge testicle, and this is the normal testicle. So this is the I cut open that testicle, and whole testicle was enlarged and very hard also. So whenever we are doing castration by faulty methods, due to continuous irritation, testicular tumors can also be developed, or congenitally, or because of many other reasons also testicular tumors can be developed. I see so many cases of testicular tumors in case of large animals, in bullocks, but in sheep and goats, I never diagnosed histopathologically. In case of bullocks, we diagnosed seminoma also, Sertoli cell tumor also. Whenever I was studying in Bidar Veterinary College, we did a study on all this type of cases. There was many cases which were coming as a complication of castration. And in case of sheep and goat also, this can occur. And this is post-operatively on day 17, the wound is healed. And urethral stenosis or injury. What happens is, whenever we are doing, so many cases will be referred. We took the animal to the Veni dispensary for the castration. We did Burdizzo castration, but after that animal is not passing urine. What happens there is, the penis will go at just above the scrotum area. The after sigmoid flexure will be going like this. Whenever we are doing crushing of spermatic cord very nearer to the body, we can crush. There is every possibility of crushing the penis. So by that, the urethra will be stenosed or undergo injury, and the urine will not be passing, and whole area will become swollen. So always we should follow correct procedure of castration. This is another case. Peripheral fistula was there. So this is the normal opening, and the urine was coming from this. I will just play the video now. So there was a pouch formation in the prepuce, and urine was coming through that opening and not from this particular vein. And that area was opened and sutured, but owner did not come back after that. I don't know what happened to that particular case. Coming to penile injury, here the fresh blood. The fresh blood coming out through the prepuce means there is some damage to the penis. huge quantity of blood coming, since the vasculature at the penis, tip of the penis is very high. Little injury will lead to huge blood loss. So here there was bleeding, and I just examined, and I applied ice packs, and advised the owner also to apply the ice packs, and then styptics were given, and the animal recovered very well. And this is the animal passing normal urine after few days. So after coming up to this time, I explained about affections in case of male animals. Now I am moving on to surgical affections of urogenital system in female. I'm coming to dystocia. So the main thing which we get in case of female animals is dystocia. Urolithiasis will be there in female animal, but it will not cause any affections which can be which can give pain to the animal. The stones will be forming and they will go off. But this coming to this dystocia, because of primary uterine inertia or secondary uterine inertia, there will be dystocia. And when we attempt it, we will first try to remove the calf. If we fail to do that, then we will go for cesarean. So I am just covering different aspects or different approaches for doing cesarean in case of sheep and goat. And uterine rupture, sometimes whenever we are some person are attending dystocia, many of the times in sheep and goats, the owner himself will try to remove the fetuses, kids or lambs. So because of abrupt handling, there may be uterine tear. There is every chance of uterine tear, and I will cover that also. And it coming to uterine eversion or collapse. After the delivery, the whole uterus will come out, same as like that of cows. First, we are trying to do for vaginal removal of the fetuses, kids or lambs. After that, if we fail in that, we will go for cesarean section. So this, like these animals will be presented. So many approaches we can try for cesareans. And according to me, cesarean in case of sheep and goats is the simplest surgery when compared to other surgeries. This is the simplest surgery, means this is there is no chances of any abrupt actions. So no major arteries comes, and no much invasive technique is needed. We can do cesarean very fastly, and we can save many animals. Even many times we can save lambs also and kids also. Majority of the time we are avoiding cesarean, and we will thought of removing the kids like that only. But even by cesarean we can save many lambs and kids. So these are the different approaches. One thing is we can give vertical incision like this, or we can go for oblique incision like in cattle. Just above the flank fold we can do it. Then just below the flank fold we can give this. Like this we can approach the uterus. So these are the different cases where I gave vertical incision in this just below the flank fold. This is above the flank fold. Anyway, is very good. And first thing is, whenever a case is presented, usually many person will be handling that particular cases. And after the once they fail, they will call us. There will be severe inflammation of vulval and vaginal mucous membrane, and huge pain will be there. First thing we should go for giving anti-inflammatory. I am always giving dexamethasone whenever the case presents first. After that, I will go for fluid therapy. After that, once the because of the pain, the animal will go to shock, and many cases will be died like that. So before surgery, we should first stabilize the animal by fluid therapy and also by anti-inflammatory therapy. Even the same applies in case of large animals also. And after that, we can go for site preparation. Aseptical preparation should be done. Then after anesthesia, we can go for we should do lumbosacral epidural anesthesia and local infiltration. So I am just incising the just inside skin and just incising the muscles. After that, we should externalize the uterus. Externalization of uterus is the main thing in the cesarean. So always we should not open the uterus in the abdominal cavity itself. That is the main thing. Since the many persons will be handling the dystocia, and majority of the time lambs or kids will be died, and that will be there will be severe inflammation and infection will be there in the uterus. if we open or if the contents of the uterus go to the abdominal cavity, that will definitely lead to peritonitis. So always we should open the uterus after taking it out from the body. This is the important step in case of cesarean. So like this, the part of the uterus should be taken out and it should be draped in a correct way. So if we give incision on the uterus, all the content which is coming from the uterus should come out. Not even a single drop of uterine content should enter the abdominal cavity. So that should be followed. Like this, in any, we can go for any approaches of cesarean, but this is the main thing. We should first externalize the uterus and do the cesarean. So I'm just showing this. So incision, we should always give the incision from ovarian end to the cervical end. This is the cervical end and this is the ovarian end. Always you should give incision from ovarian end to cervical end. The thing is, just to avoid accidental incision on the ovaries, always we should start from the ovarian end and we should go for the cervical end. So after incising, we should take out the top. So here I am holding the uterus. This is the main important step, is holding the uterus. So as soon as we remove the cuff, the uterus will be going inside. So content of the uterus will be going to the abdominal cavity. So to avoid that, we should hold properly the uterus. The content which are coming from the uterus should come out only. Not even a single drop should enter the abdomen. That is the main success rate of cesarean depends on this particular process. So here removing the cuff now. So we are holding the uterus. I will just show all the content which is coming from the uterus is coming out. So this is the main thing. And then we can start suturing the uterus. So like this, all the content should flow out. So then coming to the suturing, always suturing should be started from cervical end and go to the ovarian end. I just told that weaving incision should be done from the ovarian end to the cervical end. So now coming to the suturing, we should start from cervical end to the ovarian end. This means if we are start suturing from this end, it is very fragile and this area will go on opening the towards the cervix. This is the main thing. If we are suturing like this, it will be tearing and going to the cervical end. So always you should go, since the pressure will be there from the cervical end. So always you should start from cervical end. So here only we should start. And always 2 layers of suturing is better. Even 1 layer of suturing is also enough. In many cases in Bidar Veterinary College, my guide Dr. B.V. Shivprakash sir used to tell that 1 layer of suturing is enough. Why we are going for too much of inversion? So we can go for 1 layer also. If we are not sure about the correct opposition, then we can go for another layer also. So here I am showing both the methods. So Cushing's pattern. Coming to Cushing's pattern, we are giving incision parallel to the line of incision. So this is the line of incision. I am giving parallel to the line of incision. I am taking bites parallel to the line of incision. So Cushing's pattern, I am just showing the video of Cushing pattern. First, a knot should be applied at the cervical end. So I am just going parallel to the line of incision and taking the needle out. So same thing should be followed in the next bites also. So catgut number 1 is ideal for this sheep and goats, or even we can go for polyglycolic acid number 1. Nowadays, in all the institutions, catgut is outdated. But under field conditions, because of economy of the farmers, we are using catguts. But this works well also. Even we can shift to the polyglycolic acid also. So just I am showing the video of Cushing's pattern. Like this, parallel to the line of incision, we should move on. So this is after the suturing. And the thing is, after suturing, we can identify which pattern is used. So when we go use Cushing suture pattern, the suture material will not be visible like this. When we use Lambert suture pattern, the suture materials will be visible. I will just go to next. After this 1 layer, we can go for Lambert. So this is the Lambert pattern. Here we are giving the bites perpendicular to the primary line of incision, like this, perpendicular to the line of incision. So I am doing Lambert pattern now, perpendicular to the line of incision. So So this is the second layer of suturing. So I am taking bites perpendicular to the line of primary incision. So this is the Lambert pattern. So this is after the Lambert pattern. What I told is in Cushing's pattern, the sutures will not be visible, but in Lambert pattern, the sutures will be visible. This is the difference between these two. But both the patterns are very good. So this is for the muscles. I did the simple continuous, which can go for simple interrupted or continuous lock stitch also. Even simple continuous also can be given. And after, if we needed, subcutaneous sutures can be applied. And then for the skins, number 10 polyamide or number 1 also can be used. I used Margentile mattress in this particular case. So this is after surgery. This is the incision given. So catgut number 1 or polyglycolic acid number 1 can be used, and number 1 same for the muscles also and for the skin. And this is a case presented like this, and we first tried pervaginal removal. When I failed to do that, I did cesarean. I showed this incision site, so we can also give the incision on the above the flank fold also. A live kid was delivered by this way. And this is the same kid after 1 year. And this is another case of sheep which was presented and vertical incision was given. Uterus was taken externally and cesarean was done. Here polyglycolic acid is being used. And this is post-operative. I just told that we should always give anti-inflammatories whenever the case is presented. So here, when the case was presented, there was huge swelling of the all over the perineal region. So this type of cases first should be managed very well with sufficient, very good analgesics and fluid therapy. So I did cesarean and removed the cuff. And coming to the uterine tear or rupture, when the abrupt handling will be there, or sometimes whenever all the placental fluids are dried up, and when we try to pull up the calf outside, the uterus will be torn. Usually, the uterus will not be teared at the body of the uterus, in the middle of the uterus. So usually it will tear at the insertion of uterus to the cervix. That is the point. Suturing also will be difficult. So in this particular case, the animal was presented like in the coma stage. I did cesarean and removed the cuff, but there was uterus was torn. Actually, in this particular case, carving was done normally, but there was rupture of uterus, which can be identified by passing the finger pervaginally. So, just attachment of uterus to the cervix. This is the site where it was very deep. Even suturing was also very tough. So, up to the cervix, there was continuous tear. So, I sutured it with polyglycolic acid, and I left it. And go to another case. It was presented like this. Half the kid was removed by one of himself, but there was intestines hanging out through the vaginal opening. So there was tear in the vagina, and all the intestines came out. So I did left-sided flank laparotomy. I taken out all the uterus. This was the torn place. And suturing towards the cervical end is a bit tough since the momentum on the intestines will be coming on the way, and I sutured it. And one thing what we should do is after suturing, we should go for oxytocin therapy. So oxytocin will lead to fast involution of the uterus. So 5 international unit of oxytocin can be given whenever we suspect uterine tears. So early involution will be there. So the torn area will be healed fastly. So I did Foley's catheter administration also for this particular case, as there was uterine tear and all the contents of uterus went to the ventral abdomen. So there was every chance of development of peritonitis. So one Foley's catheter is being inserted into the ventral abdomen. First, I flushed all the abdominal cavity with a huge quantity of NS, and I inserted one Foley's catheter. And every day I flushed the abdomen with the NS using the particular Foley's catheter. So even in many large animals also we are doing same method, just inserting one Foley's catheter for the abdominal lavage. And oxytocin was given, and this animal recovered very well. And this is post-operative after the 20 days. There was no onset of any signs of peritonitis and the animal recovered very well. So use of abdominal lavage and use of Foley's catheter into the abdomen for the drainage of the peritoneal fluid, and also use of oxytocin, all worked well for this particular case. And coming to next case, uterine torsion. The video is not playing here. I will just go to the video. Case was presented like this. There was crouching position of the animal. The animal was in stress, and rolling of the animal was done. But this particular case did not recover by rolling of the animal. So I did. I gone for cesarean in this particular case. So uterine torsion should be attended as early as possible, and there will be devitalization of the uterus. So that is the main problem. And coming to uterine eversion or prolapse, after the delivery, all the uterine contents will come out like this, and this is an emergency. We should not delay this type of cases. First, we should advise the owner to keep it very clean by covering it with a plastic or wet cloth. We should apply the ice or cold water continuously, and we can use sugar or salt also, and these will lead to all the everted mass will be reduced. The size of the mass will be reduced, and we can reposition it once it reduces. So we should use ice packs or cold water, and this can be reduced. So first thing, whenever this type of cases comes, is first we should give epidural anesthesia. Without this, if we attempt, it will be coming out continuously. Ice or cold water should be applied. This is the second thing. And third stage, we should do repositioning slowly. And then after the repositioning, if the positioning is correct, there is no need of suturing. So animal should be placed like this. The should be the front limb should be at the shallow area, and hind limb should be in the elevated area. And after that, oxytocin 5 international unit should be given. By this, involution of the uterus will be fast, and that is needed. So we can use oxytocin in every cases of uterine prolapse. And then a course of antibiotic and anti-inflammatories are must. So these 5 steps should be followed in case of uterine eversion. So this was a case presented with the uterine prolapse, and this is after repositioning. And whenever in case of some cases of uterine prolapse, there will be severe bleeding. I've seen so many cases in large animals with severe bleeding which led to hemorrhagic shock. So in that type of cases, or in any cases, when we want to do surgeries and there is very anemia is there in case of animal, we can first go for the blood transfusion. Very economically, we can do blood transfusion in sheep and goats also. I will just explain this in 2 slides. So we can take Urobag, and online we will get it around just 50 rupees per bag. So the capacity of Urobag is 2 liters. So for the adult animal, around 400 to 500 ml of blood is enough. So first we should take Urobag. We need sodium citrate. Sodium citrate solutions are available in the labs. 3.8% solution is there. Otherwise, we will get powder form of sodium citrate also. Sometimes we are using as a pH modulator, powder form will be there. So that powder can also be used for doing this blood transfusion. Citranium powder is the trade name which contains sodium citrate 100%. So we need 3.8% of sodium citrate. So for that, we should take 1 spoon of sodium citrate in 100 ml of NS. 1 spoon means on an average it will be 5 grams. So when we take it in 100 ml, so then by that we can collect up to 1 liter of blood. So if we want to collect 500 ml of blood, 50 ml of this stock solution can be used. So just I am going through that. Here I first sodium citrate 3.8% solution is readily available. If we are getting that solution, 1 part of sodium citrate and 9 parts of blood is enough. That means 1 part means around 50 ml of sodium citrate can be taken in the Urobag. to that 9 parts of blood. That means 450 ml of blood can be collected in that. Together constitute 500 ml. So this can be easily done. So here the animal was presented very dull and very anemic. So here I attempted for blood transfusion. I did microchip needle was used to collection of blood. We can use any needle, 16 gauge, 18 gauge needles can also be used. Within 5 minutes, I collected 500 ml of blood from this animal with the help of Urobag, and we are transfusing it to the another animal. The video is actually not playing. Okay, so this is after the blood transfusion, animal is active. So this can be kept in mind that we can use blood transfusion also as a aid before surgeries. And by all this, I am just concluding my session. And I did just explain all the basic things what I did in last these much of years. And I'm very much thankful to all my teachers and great mentors because of whom I did all the works possible. And I'm very much thankful to organizers and Dr. Balapan for giving me a wonderful opportunity to present my topics here. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.